이번에도 이스라엘의 청년 7명과 리더 3명이 이글스 프로젝트의 일환으로 우리나라를 방문해서 우리나라의 청년들과 함께 즐거운 시간을 보내다가 이제 내리면 이스라엘로 돌아간다고 하는데요. 그 전에 저희 브래드 TV 스튜디오에 찾아와 주셨습니다. 이번에 오신 팀의 리더와 대표 브래드쇼에서 이야기를 좀 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 예레미야 스밀로비치 대표 그리고 또 구르핑켈 리더 오늘 두 분을 모시고 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 어서 오십시오. 반갑습니다.
Thank you.
청년들이 이제 이번에 한국을 왔단 말입니다. 우리나라 말고도 뭐 다른 나라들도 많을 텐데 뭐 호주도 있고 또 유럽도 있고 미국도 있고 그럴 텐데 굳이 이렇게 또 한국으로 오려고 계획을 했던 이유는 뭡니까?
Well, the Lord is the one who orchestrated this amazing thing. There were people coming from Korea and also from Taiwan. They came to Israel, and there was a connection that was very fast. And we presented this project many times before to different nations. But the Korean people were one of them who jumped and said, hey, we want to take part in this. And immediately, very fast, everything was done. It actually was done in a few months. It was so fast. I think it just shows the heart of the Korean people, of how much they love Israel, and that they're willing to just very quickly change everything. And I know people also that were hosting us have taken time off from work just to be with us and show us around Korea. So I'm not surprised because I saw also how the project came to be. So I already expected this heart to continue in Korea, and it's just been an amazing experience.
한국에 오시기 전에는 한국 사람들이, 한국의 기독교인들이 이 정도까지 이스라엘을 사랑할 줄은 잘 모르셨죠?
The knowledge usually came from the people that I met in Israel, but of course the people who come to Israel will love Israel or just visit, but there are reasons they come to Israel. But when you come here and you see much more people, it's make a big expression on you.
한국에 일주일 있다가 이제 내일 떠난단 말입니다. 그러면 지난 일주일 동안 한국에서 그 7명의 청년들과 또 3명의 리더 이렇게 이번에 함께 오신 분들이 어떤 시간을 보내다가 가시는 겁니까?
We had a great time, amazing time. We had different experiences. We got to see different sites from Korea, a little bit more relaxing. Folk village, which was a very interesting experience culturally. We got dressed up to the traditional Korean clothing from I don't know how many years ago, many years ago. And of course we were drawing a lot of attention because we were the only white people walking around in Korean clothes. But it was very fun, and connecting with the locals was amazing. Being with them in street evangelism. We went and we had worship in the center of the city, and many people.
그러면 길거리에서 영어로 찬양을 한 겁니까? 아니면 히브리어로 찬양한 겁니까? 아니면 한국말을 배워서 찬양한 겁니까?
It was in all three languages, but mostly English, because this is what everyone understands together. So when we went out together with the local church, and that way they could translate for us. So many Koreans stopped. And they were attracted to the singing, also sometimes singing in Hebrew, so it was very new for them, I think. And they came and they were asking questions, or they just liked the music. And then we got opportunities to pray for them. I know Yuli prayed for many different people also. I was mostly leading worship, so I didn't have opportunity to pray much. But it was really an amazing experience. We went home so excited, just feeling the God's grace of the opportunity to be a blessing to Korea and being blessed by Korea.
제가 조금 전에 이글스 프로젝트에 대해서 이렇게 잠깐 이야기를 하긴 했지만 대표님께서 다시 한번 설명을 해 주시죠. 이글스 프로젝트 어떤 것을 이글스 프로젝트라고 이야기합니까?
Yes, so Eagle Project has a few parts to it. Most of them are dedicated and focused on young adults, ages 18 to 30. One of them is Eagle Project in Asia. Then we have Eagle Project in Norway, Eagle Project in Israel with weekends, and also Eagle Project, which is a 12-week course for theological teachings from many teachers from Israel. And there's one more for younger people, from the ages 12 to 17, which is actually happening in France. So there's these 5 different things that happen in Eagle Project, and they're different levels. So the one in Norway is focused on soldiers who just finished their service in the IDF, and then they go and they have time of more of rest, but also time to experience God after hard serving in the army. And then you have the weekends, which is open to anyone who's 18 to 30, which people come and they get some services, learning, worship time, connecting to people who are the same age, and also they can experience encouragement to each other, because there's not many believers in Israel, so it's good to gather together in groups of your same age. In Asia, what we're doing now is really connecting to the nations, bringing young people from Korea, and also we were in Taiwan last week, bringing people that are young, also people who have potential to become leaders, the next generation of leaders, connecting them on a relational level, and building that one new man already in the very young age. But at the same time, what we're doing in the background as a group, as a team, we are training these young Israelis to the next level of leadership. So they all have different responsibilities, and they have different positions while we're leading. Each time someone else is leading the group, and it gives them a taste of leadership, of responsibility. And Yulia actually also did this very recently, this week in Korea.
유리 구르핑켈 우리 리더, 군대를 제대한 지 몇 년 정도 됐습니까?
I finished in 2010.
그러면 이제 한 9년 정도 지났는데, 어떻습니까? 제가 조금 전에 또 이제 이야기하고 또 우리 저 대표님도 얘기했지만, 이스라엘의 그 젊은이들이 군대를 제대하자마자 외국으로 이렇게 뛰쳐나가서 여행을 해야 할 만큼 군생활 스트레스를 많이 받죠? 어느 정도입니까?
It wasn't easy. It was hard. It took 3 years of your life. It's a lot of time. But it's also give you a lot. It gives you responsibility on your own life, on the life of your friends. I personally was a medic in my team, so it gives you extra responsibility on the others' lives. And I think it's make you grow up on a different level. And also I think it's really help for the Israeli society that the 18 years old kids or youth becoming a man during the service in the army. And it's you can see it on our society in Israel.
우리 예레미야 대표께서는 군대 가기 전에 이미 예수님을 믿는 그런 메시아닉주가 되셨는데 어떻습니까? 이스라엘에서 군 생활하는 그 기간 동안 본인이 예수와를 믿는 그 메시아닉 빌리버로서, 예수님을 믿는 사람으로서 그 군 생활을 지내는데 큰 힘이 됩니까?
And at that time, there were less believers, less Messianic Jews in the military than there are today, just because there were less Messianic Jews 12 years ago than they are now. And the most difficult thing was the isolation. You were very lonely, because there weren't other people who share your faith, and you're closed in this place, especially in combat. You can't go home every week, and when you go home, you have to travel very far, and then you have a very short time at home. So you don't really have a support system. In the army, it's very intense, always running, always on your feet, always dealing with challenges, and it's purposely like that in the army. They put you in those situations. Today, as an officer, I understand also the purpose of that. But as a young trainee, when you're just going into the army, it's very difficult, very hard for you. Big change from being in the normal world to go into the military. So being isolated and being alone was very hard. It's very hard to find time to read your Bible, to pray. You don't have time to worship. Only when you go home. So that was the most difficult part.
그리고 제가 듣기로는 이스라엘에서 다양한 분야에 있는 유대인들 중에서 특히 부대에 있는 군대에 있는 이스라엘의 젊은이들 중에 예수님을 믿는 가장 전도가 많이 되는 데가 이스라엘 군대다. 이런 얘기를 제가 들은 적이 있거든요. 어떻습니까? 예레미야 대표께서도 보시기에 그렇습니까?
I was born in Israel 30 years ago in Jerusalem, grew up in Israel all my life. So I've seen the shift in the society of the Israeli people. Their hearts are opening to the gospel. It's not like it was when I was young, a teenager. The approach to the gospel was very difficult. People had a very hard time even to listen to what we had to say. And in the recent years, we see that there's a lot more openness in the entire society. The reason I think it's happening maybe a lot in the military is because the reality is that we are forced into society groups. And in those groups of society of the army, you have Messianic Jews. And those Messianic Jews are a light in a very great darkness. Even though the military is an amazing place, and Israel military is probably one of the best in the world, there's a lot of bad things that are done within the army. And this is also why we have Eagle Project, to help people who come out of that. But it's an opportunity for these young people to be a light. So even when they are struggling with their faith, they are being a light to the people around them, because the other people are really struggling with a lot more than they are. They at least still have the anchor of Yeshua to be an anchor to their lives. Other people are very lost and they don't have any anchor to their lives. So they have the opportunity to share the light. And through that, I think there's many people who are hearing about the gospel in the army. I personally had the opportunity to be a lieutenant and overseeing about 100 soldiers and being a testimony to the people who were with me by who I was. It wasn't by sharing the gospel and quoting verses and giving sermons, but they see who we are, they see what we do. And this is what also Messiah said, that they will know you by who you are, how you love each other, how you act. And I think that this is why Messianic Jews in the army today, there's young people who are 18, 19, 20, very young people who, usually in Israel, they're not very disciplined. They're not very obedient. They don't do what they're told, but then they see these Messianic Jews who really love their country, they want to serve, they go to special units, and they're disciplined and they're obedient. And that is the testimony to the people in Israel, in the army.
그러면 예레미야 씨는 그 군생활 기간 동안에 혹시 본인이 예수님을 믿는 그 메시아닉 빌리버라는 이유로 이렇게 그 군인 동료들에게 뭐 불이익을 당하거나 또는 이렇게 따돌림을 당하거나 뭐 그런 적은 없습니까?
There's always people, even today in society, that they judge just because they know you believe in Yeshua Messiah. So they don't like you just because of that. I actually had a very interesting experience. I had two interesting experiences in the army. One was of a commander of mine that I discovered only after a year that he was my commander. He came to me and he repented. He was religious and he repented before me, and he confessed before me that the entire time that I was training for that year, that he was always trying to manipulate the other commanders against me because he knew I was a Messianic Jew. I didn't know it at the time, even though I did feel a little bit of tension with him during my training. But to discover that someone was that angry at me just because I was a believer in Yeshua, it was really the greatest experience I personally had in my life, of someone really condemning me just because of my faith. And but it shows you the glory of God, because he saw me as a person, and with time his heart changed until that place that he came and he repented and he said, I'm sorry, I confess to you that I was manipulating the other commanders, but I see who you are, I see how you act, and I see the values you carry. And he actually left a lot of his religious beliefs after that, because he saw me and he said, I'm jealous of what you have. he didn't become a believer, but he saw that there's something great in what we believe as Messianic Jews who are very similar to Christians today. And he saw that and he was jealous. And he said, I don't want this religious. I want something more real like I see in you, in the Messianic Jews. I want this faith. So that was amazing testimony that the Lord used. A second experience that I had was with a friend who was very religious, Orthodox, in the officer's course. And in the beginning he was very afraid of me because of my faith, so he stayed far. But after a few weeks being together, because it's very intense, so you're always together, he saw my behavior, he saw my values, he saw the way I act. And he came to me and we became very good friends in officer's course. Even though we did not share the same belief in the New Testament, we did share it in the Old Covenant, and we saw the values that we shared together, and we became very, very good friends. So I have two experiences, but I think the Lord used those experiences to really change people's lives and change their hearts.
이번에 7명의 이스라엘 젊은이들이 왔어요. 또 3명의 리더하고 같이. 7명의 그 이스라엘 젊은이들, 이제 군대 막 제대한 청년들이죠. 어떤 분들이 온 겁니까?
So there's a variety of people. Yuri finished the army many years ago, but he's the oldest one in the group, and then the youngest just finished the military very recently, and then there's others who were in between, like they're in the mid-20s. So really it's a group from 22-year-olds till 31. They all went through the military except one who got married to an Israeli girl who had served in the military.
그럼 그 청년들은 군대 가기 전부터 예수님을 믿는 그 메시아닉 빌리버였습니까? 아니면 군대 가서 예수를 믿게 된 그런 청년도 있습니까?
They were all Messianic believers before the military, but they all also have their stories within the army and going through it. It wasn't simple. Some go into the military with a little faith, some go with a lot of faith, but everyone goes through a process when they're in the military. So they all have very interesting stories.
지금 이스라엘의 메시아닉주 청년들 중에 한국에 오고 싶어하는 분들이 많이 있습니까?
I'm sure yes. Definitely sure yes.
만약에 다음에 이글스 프로젝트로 또 이렇게 한국에 방문하는 메시아닉 청년들을 우리 교회에서 밥이라도 좀 한 끼 대접하고 싶다. 또는 우리가 좀 숙소를 제공하고 싶다. 이런 분들이 있으면 우리 대표님께 연락하면 되는 겁니까?
So Eagle Project is a joint program of Revive Israel and Shabbat Zion. There's two big ministries in Israel. In Revive Israel, we have also Korean website. So if they want to contact, the best is to just go on Revive Israel website into the Korean translation, and there they can contact us, and that way they can get to us, to the team, and then we can respond to them. Yes, it would be amazing.
또 올 거죠, 유리 씨도?
Thank you.
우리 브래드 TV 시청자들은 이스라엘을 사랑하고 또 이스라엘을 위해서 기도하는 분들이 많이 보고 있거든요. 우리 브래드 TV 시청자들이 이스라엘의 젊은이들, 특히 군 복무 중인 군인들이나 이제 막 제대한, 그래서 이제 또다시 학업에 전념해야 되는 요 시기에 있는 이스라엘의 젊은이들을 위해서 기도한다면 어떤 기도를 해드리면 좋을까요?
So the Messianic Jews who just get out of the army, it's a transition time. You go through school, high school, you go to the army immediately, and then you go out to the real world. Very difficult time for them. As difficult as the army is, sometimes it's even more difficult when you finish, because then you start asking a lot of questions. Oh, what am I supposed to do now? Where am I supposed to go? And it's a really, really sensitive time. This is one of the reasons we have Eagle Project, to help these young Israelis, young adults. So to pray for them that they would listen to the Holy Spirit and walk in the path that the Lord has for them. To protect them from whatever the enemy is trying to put into their minds. Sometimes it's even good things that they want to do, but they're so much in a hurry to find what they can do instead of listening to God and praying. And if they listen to God, then we have confidence that they will find the right path. So just pray for them that they would be able to focus on the Lord and not feel pressure from society or from even their parents and friends.
우리가 이스라엘의 젊은 청소년들 또 청년들, 예수 믿는 청년들에 대한 관심을 또 놓치고 있었던 것은 아닌가 이런 생각을 해보게 됩니다. 그것도 참 좋은 것 같아요. 이스라엘의 청년들, 예수 믿는 우리 청년들을 한국으로 초청해서 우리 교회 청년들과 함께 어울려서 우리의 문화도 체험하게 해주고 또 우리의 이야기도 들려주고 또 그들에게서 이스라엘 이야기도 듣는 이런 교류의 장을 갖는 거 굉장히 의미 있는 일이 아닐까 생각합니다. 만약에 이글스 프로젝트에서 또 이렇게 다음번에 이스라엘의 메시아닉 청년들이 한국에 방문한다면 여러분들이 좀 한번 초청해서 그들을 맞이해 보는 것은 어떨까 이런 생각을 좀 해보게 됩니다. 뉴스에서 신문에서 가끔 이렇게 팔레스타인과 부딪히는 이스라엘 군인들의 그 모습을 보면 어떤 사람들은 이스라엘 군인들에 대해서 아주 굉장히 반감을 갖고 있는 사람들이 있는데 또 실제로 이스라엘의 군인들을 이렇게 직접 만나고 또 제대를 한 젊은이들을 만나보면은 마치 우리의 아들 같기도 하고 또 우리의 동생 같기도 하고 굉장히 또 순박한 모습들을 볼 수가 있습니다. 그들 중에는 또 우리와 같이 예수님을 믿고 두 손을 모으고 뜨거운 마음으로 예수님을 찬양하는 메시아닉 청년들이 있거든요. 그들의 간증을 여러분들이 교회에서 한번 직접 들어보는 것도 좋을 것 같습니다. 이번에 이글스 프로젝트로 한국에 방문한 7명의 청년들과 또 이렇게 리더들 이런 분들이 이번 기회를 통해서 한국에 대한 좋은 이미지와 또 좋은 인상을 갖고 한국의 청년들과 좋은 만남이 계속 지속되었으면 좋겠습니다. 이렇게 와주셔서 고맙고요. 내일 이스라엘로 잘 돌아가시고 유리 씨는 다음에 꼭 한번 한국에 더 왔으면 좋겠습니다. 그때 또 뵙도록 하죠. 오늘 귀한 말씀 나눠주셔서 고맙습니다. Thank you very much.